Why is it that so many people secretly root for the villain instead of the hero? Why do we find characters like the Joker, Loki, or even Darth Vader more fascinating than the so-called good guys? The answer lies deep in human psychology, and it reveals something important about how we see the world and ourselves. Heroes are designed to be perfect, or at least close to perfect. They stand for justice, morality, and doing what's right, no matter the cost. But villains break those rules, and that's exactly why we're drawn to them. They show us what it looks like to live without limits, without fear of judgment, without being chained to society's expectations. Psychologists say that villains represent our hidden desires, the darker impulses we suppress in daily life. When a villain acts out their anger, their greed, or their lust for power, we're not just watching them. We're seeing parts of ourselves that we usually keep locked away, and that makes them relatable in a strangely honest way. Heroes can feel predictable. They save the day, they protect the weak, they do the right thing, even when it's hard. But villains bring chaos, and chaos is exciting because it breaks the rules of the story and keeps us guessing what will happen next. There's also the element of power. Villains often have control, confidence, and charisma. They walk into a room, and everyone pays attention. Humans are naturally attracted to power, even when it's dangerous, because it represents freedom and strength that many people secretly crave but don't have. Another reason people love villains is because they often have better backstories. Think about it. Many villains are shaped by tragedy, rejection, or betrayal. They weren't born evil. They became that way because of the pain they endured. And when we learn their stories, we can't help but empathize with them. We see the human behind the monster, and that blurs the line between good and evil. Sometimes villains even make more sense than heroes. They point out flaws in society, hypocrisy in the system, or corruption in leaders. When a villain speaks the uncomfortable truth, part of us nods along because we know they're right, even if their actions cross the line. There's also a psychological phenomenon called the shadow self. It's the part of our personality that contains everything we deny or reject about ourselves. The anger, the selfishness, the envy. Villains embody the shadow self, and by watching them, we get to confront those parts of ourselves without actually living them out. It's safe, it's thrilling, and it's strangely satisfying. Pop culture has only amplified this love for villains. Movies and shows now give them depth, style, and intelligence, from Thanos with his twisted sense of balance to Loki with his charm. And wit, villains are no longer flat characters. They're layered, complex, and sometimes more interesting than the hero they fight against. And let's be honest, villains often get the best lines, the best costumes, and sometimes even the best music. They're designed to be unforgettable because a story is only as good as its antagonist. At the end of the day, our love for villains isn't about wanting evil to win. It's about recognizing that life isn't black and white, and neither are people. We see pieces of ourselves in villains, the struggles, the pain, the desires, and that makes them human, even when they're supposed to be monsters. So the next time you find yourself rooting for the villain, don't be surprised. It's not because you're evil, it's because your brain is wired to connect with complexity, and villains offer exactly that. They are mirrors of the hidden parts of us we rarely admit exist, and maybe that's why they will always steal the spotlight from the heroes we're supposed to love.